If you're in any kind of leadership role, you know that implementing change isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It could be new tech, a team shuffle, or a whole new strategy. And leading that transition, well, it's easily one of the toughest parts of the job. So today, we're going to open up a practical, step-by-step playbook to help you nail it. Okay, so let's just start with a number you've probably heard thrown around, 70%. Now, while people debate the exact data, the story that 70% of change initiatives fail, well, it points to a really critical truth. Without a solid plan, the odds just aren't in your favor. The stakes are incredibly high. But here's the thing. We can't let that fear of failure paralyze us. As Sam Schneider from Bloomfire says so well, change isn't just a hurdle. It's the engine for progress. It's how we grow, how we innovate, how we get better. So the goal isn't to avoid change. It's to get really, really good at leading it. To do that, we're going to walk through a full 11-step process. We'll kick off with the challenge itself, then we'll break it down into 4 clear phases: laying the foundation, designing the blueprint, executing the launch, and then the follow-through that really makes it all stick. Let's dive right in. So, first things first, why do so many of these initiatives just fizzle out? It's because change is, at its core, a human process. It kicks up all this uncertainty, fear, and resistance. So before we get to the solution, we have to really understand the common roadblocks we're all up against. And the problems are almost always the same, right? Communication breaks down, employees push back because they don't get the why, the goals are kind of fuzzy, or maybe leadership just isn't visibly backing the play. The playbook we're about to go through is specifically designed to get ahead of every single one of these issues. Okay, let's get into the playbook itself. First up is phase 1, the foundation. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are all about doing that critical prep work. And trust me, if you get this part right, everything that comes after it gets so much easier. Now, this is where the real work begins, so let's break it down. First up, step 1, you have to define the change. Your action is to get crystal clear on the problem, the goals, the benefits, the risks, all of it. Your deliverable is a simple document that answers what and why. The pitfall here is ambiguity. If you're not clear now, you're just setting yourself up for confusion later. Next, step 2, identify the type of change. Is it a small improvement, a move to a new system, or a total transformation? Classifying it is your action, because that classification, that's your deliverable. It tells you exactly how much disruption to plan for. The mistake is underestimating the intensity. And finally, step 3, select your team. And don't just pick the usual suspects. Your action is to build a team with people from all levels. And here's a pro tip: include a few of your known skeptics. If you can get them on board, they become your most powerful allies. And just to be super clear on those types from step 2, developmental change is basically improving what you already do. Transitional is when you move from point A to a known point B, like rolling out new software. But transformational, that's the big one. We're talking a fundamental shift in culture or strategy. Knowing which one you're tackling is absolutely crucial for your planning. So at this point, you've defined the change, you know how big it is, and you've got your team together. You have your what and your who. So the next question is pretty obvious. What about the how? And that brings us right into our second phase. This is the blueprint phase. These next 3 steps are where you basically become the architect for this entire transition. This isn't about doing anything yet. It's about creating a detailed, almost bulletproof plan before a single thing actually changes for your team. All right, let's look at this blueprint. Step 4 is plan and strategize. Your action here is to get into the weeds. Budget, timeline, how you'll measure success, your comms plan, all of it. Your deliverable is that comprehensive strategy document. And listen, the biggest pitfall is rushing this. I'm serious, this might be the single most critical step in the whole playbook. Then, step 5, you conduct a trial run. Before you go company-wide, your action is to test everything with a small group. The deliverable is that priceless feedback that lets you tweak the plan. Skipping this is how you run into massive but totally avoidable problems later, which brings us to step 6, communicate. With a tested plan in hand, now you announce it. And the deliverable isn't just a quick email, it's a proper company-wide announcement with all the info stored somewhere central, like a knowledge base, where people can find it. With a solid foundation and a detailed blueprint, you are finally ready for action. This is the launch phase. This is where the change stops being a document and starts becoming a reality for everyone in the organization. So the launch kicks off with step 7, training. And this is completely non-negotiable. The biggest pitfall here is just assuming people will figure it out. They won't. They'll get frustrated, they'll find workarounds, and your adoption rates will tank. Then comes step 8. You actually roll out the change. The key action here is to do it in managed phases. You have to resist that temptation to do a big bang launch where everything changes overnight. That's just a recipe for chaos. A phased rollout, that's your deliverable. It lets you manage the complexity, get feedback, and make adjustments on the fly. So the change is live, but your work is nowhere near done. This is actually where so many great initiatives just slowly die. This last phase is the follow-through, and it's arguably the most important. These final 3 steps are all about making sure the new way of working becomes the only way of working. You see, momentum is a fragile thing. Step 9 is all about keeping it going. Review and communicate constantly. Your action is to hold regular meetings, send out surveys. Your deliverable is a continuous feedback loop. The pitfall here is the classic launch and leave mistake. Don't do it. Then in step 10, you have to evaluate the impact. Go back to those success metrics you defined way back in step 4. Your action is to measure the results with real data and produce a clear report on the ROI. Don't just rely on it feels like it's working. And finally, the step that cements it all. Step 11, reinforce. This is about weaving the change into the very fabric of the company. The action is integrating it into workflows, performance reviews, even rewards, making the new way the easy and obvious way. And this, right here, this is the whole philosophy of the playbook. You can't just ignore resistance or hope it goes away. It's a natural reaction. But by using a structured process like this one, you're actually guiding people through that uncertainty and turning that initial resistance into lasting reinforcement. So there you have it, the full 11 steps. But look, don't think of this as just a rigid checklist. Think of it as your playbook, a repeatable process that helps you turn the potential chaos of change into real, measurable progress. It's really a tool for leading with confidence. So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this question. Whether it's massive or minor, transformational, or just a small improvement, there is a change coming on your horizon. The only question is, now that you have the playbook, what change are you going to lead?